Okay, in this video, we're talking about a productivity system to get 5x more out of your work hours and be able to reduce the amount of time that you actually have to spend working so you can obviously get more things done, do more things in your life, move the business forward, etc., etc. Or if you don't want to move the business forward, you just want to get more out of your time, then this is the video for you. This is specifically made with agency owners and B2B company owners in mind. So I'm not going to, beat around the bush too much. Let's just get straight into it. This is about how to improve productivity. In terms of the top 4 problems that you are going to have if you're an agency owner, number 1 is going to be that no one knows who you are. Number 2 is that you don't generate enough leads. Number 3 is that all of your clients come from referrals and you don't get any clients from your own cold traffic. And number 4 is that 99% of leads can't afford to work with you or are not a good fit. But there's actually a bonus problem down here, is that yourself, essentially. You can't get any work done. You can't execute as much as you should. You know you could be getting more out of your time, but you don't. There's some type of like ADHD, TikTok brain that is, insidiously, going into your brain, and you kind of can't focus. That's a really, really big and common problem right now. So if that's you, this is the absolute video for you. We made another video called the 56 minutes of the best agency training you'll ever find. So if you want to check that out, you can see that here. I'll leave the link in the description. You can also check out a free webinar on how Matt went from 0 to 900K a month in under 12 months. So there's a free webinar on that. So it's basically how he drove traffic, how he captured leads, how he turned leads into sales calls, the offers, the revenue streams, etc., etc. That's every Tuesday at 2 p.m. EST. So if you want to join that, it's completely free. Feel free to go and grab that. I'll leave again a link in the description. If you want to get 12 free agency trainings like this one, there's 11 of them available that are very, very similar to this. So you can get that and download them in the description. And you can also get 1 month free of 1000x leads as well. Link in the description. That's our program to turn you into a lead gen juggernaut. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So part 0 is going to be a change of perspective. So what you want to do is you want to incorporate the 1000x lead system. You want to use it to make millions of dollars per year. You want to get a lot out of your life and a lot out of your time. If you want to do those things, you're going to have a change in perspective. Right now, it's very likely that you are not ready, because if you were, you would probably have already implemented this system and be making millions and millions of dollars per year. So the thing is, you need to get a lot better if you want to be able to implement this system and actually be able to run it. If you've ever played Pokemon or you've played Game Boy or anything like that, right now you're probably like the Pokemon trainer, and the 1000x lead system is like a Pokemon that you traded from your other account. It's just too high level for you to control right now, and it won't listen to you. It's probably similar to if you get handed the keys to a Ferrari while you're just trying to learn how to drive. There's probably just some things that you just can't do. You just need to level up a little bit, quite significantly maybe, and if you want to build and operate it, you just need to get a bit better, and that's fine. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a part of the process. It's really just a matter of acknowledging, hey, I can get better here, or hey, I can get better there. And then from there, you can sort of just adjust and get better. Because the only thing that's going to really mess you up is if you think that you are, more skilled than you are, or you think that you're better than you are, or whatever it may be. But the reality is, if you were that good, you'd probably be there. It's the same thing. I look at myself and I say, hey, why don't you have this? Well, it's probably a skill issue. You probably need to get a bit better. So it's completely fine. It's just about admitting that and then seeing, how can I get better? And what we can do is we can look at it. So what is wrong with the way you go about your day right now? So that's the question you want to ask. You want to incorporate improved perspective. You want to have higher standards. You want to have better habits and routines. You want to have a world-class productivity system, and you want to have accountability and tracking. So you want to have this perspective. Another little thing is that you want to be too good to fail. So you need to approach your lead magnets, offers, operations, all of these things that contribute to your success so much with the mindset that you make it so good that it is impossible for it to fail. That's pretty long-term thinking, but what this is going to do is it's going to make you more money than anything else. Every video, every lead magnet, every offer, every webinar, every workshop, every newsletter, every single thing that you do has to be too good for it to fail. And then, of course, over time, everything you do is just going to be a little bit better and a little bit better, and you will be too good to fail, whether it's true at the start or not. The thing is, you don't want to do work just for the sake of doing work and ticking a box on your productivity list or ticking a box on your Airtable or whatever project management you use. You want to take 5 minutes. Just think beforehand. Review the last thing you did and brainstorm 3 to 5 ways you can make it better. How can you make it better? Ask that question, and the more you ask that question, you will know how. And then as you grow and progress, you may also invest in expert advice and feedback from people who have done it before, and obviously that accelerates your progress. But you want to be hard on yourself, and you find someone who is going to be hard on you as well. So if you think about someone like, Michael Jordan, he was only really the best because he had Phil Jackson and things like that. Moving on, another key thing that you need to know is that if you ask God to move a mountain, you're going to have to wake up with a shovel or be ready to wake up next to a shovel. You want to drill it into your mindset and perspective that if you want to succeed, it's going to take a lot of work. That's it. And it's a good thing, because if it takes a lot of work, your competitors are not going to want to do it. And it's a complete fallacy that you don't have to work hard to succeed. You see people online, they say, oh, passive income, you want to go drink Mai Tais on the beach, et cetera, et cetera. It's just cap. Like it's simply untrue. You have to work really hard and you have to work on the right stuff. What these lead magnets in this program is going to do is it's going to take care of the right stuff for you. It's going to show you what to work on, but you still have to do it. So every day, as part of your morning and night routine, you want to repeat the phrase to yourself. If you ask God to move a mountain, you want to be ready to wake up next to a shovel. Another little nugget here is that if you can pick it up, it's lightweight. Ronnie Coleman was one of the most successful bodybuilders in history. And he has a phrase that if you can pick it up, it's lightweight. It's an important perspective shift, because all the work you did today, this week, this year, etc., is all well within your capabilities, or you wouldn't have been able to do it. So you need to treat this process like going to the gym, where you're continually pushing yourself further than yesterday, becoming better, becoming bigger, becoming stronger, faster, etc., because this is how you grow. And you want to think of your work ethic as a muscle and train it the exact same way that you would train a muscle in the gym. Next up, you want to drill it to your mind that all of your struggles are a good thing. Are you tired? Good. Is it late? Good. That means the competition is asleep. Is it going to take 40 hours to make this lead magnet? Good. That means you're going to stand out. It's going to be really good. Are you struggling to get all your work done? Good. That means you're pushing yourself. All of these things are really good. All of your, programs and struggles and all these things that are holding you back are good. Even if you're miserable, it's good. If you're miserable, you can rest assured that you're on the right path and your competitors won't want to go through it. Everything is good. You're in a good spot. And this is based off Jocko Willink's video, good. Obviously, you don't want to take that too far. You want to take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, it's not good if your leg's falling off. Maybe it is good. Maybe that's going to build some character, but, obviously just take that the right way. Another thing is that you never want to say sorry ever again. So from day one of these lead magnets in this program, et cetera, you're going to be completely removing the word sorry from your vocabulary. When you do so, you're probably going to grow about 50% as a human being, because once you cut out that word, it's a bit of a start. And then over time, you cut the feeling out as well. So you're not sorry for anything. You'll do anything you want without worrying. You will literally just not give a fuck. And why would you? This is how it is, and this is how it's going to be. This doesn't mean you have to be an asshole or never admit when you're wrong. You can be normal and just act like you are now. You can admit when you're wrong, but that doesn't mean you have to say sorry. It might seem kind of stupid, it might seem goofy, but if you do it anyway, and you revisit this once you sort of go through a few months, you'll see why. Because a lot of people, most people even these days, will go through life almost walking on eggshells, worrying about everyone else and never putting themselves first. But the key is, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to take the world by the throat and just direct it and say, look, this is the direction we're going. And you shouldn't have to apologize for that. And you don't want to have this apologetic mindset. Maybe you might be a nicer person, quote unquote, if you were saying sorry constantly and everyone around you felt super comfortable because they're like, oh, Johnny over here is the nicest guy of all time. But that's not going to get you anywhere. That's going to get you being a nice guy. And it's kind of like one of those things where I don't want to be the one to say nice guys finish last, but you kind of get what I mean. The person that wins isn't always the nicest guy. So you don't want to be nice. You don't want to optimize for that. Now, into part one, standards, your company standards. So you should have a master list of standards for your business that everyone is expected to follow. A lot of people make really cringe company values, which is definitely the right idea, but a lot of the time it's in the wrong direction. Shout out to someone like, Bud Light or whoever made those stupid ads and make these weird things that don't actually mean anything. But you want to actually have these because it makes a huge difference about the quality and quantity and just like the values of your company. So you want to really make sure you implement this. And these standards should be automatically sent to employees twice per day, once at the start of the day and once at the end of the day. And you want to read them at the start of every important company call. And there should be things like in these standards, such as quality of work, client results, attention to detail, continuous improvements, company habits, client communication, paid ads, outreach, content, and partnerships to get more clients. And what you want to do is you want to make a list of 10 standards that apply company-wide that everyone in the company is expected to follow. This is really, really important. I cannot stress this enough. I think what's the saying? You don't rise to the level of your performance, you fall to the level of your standards. Or you don't rise to the level of your motivation, something like that. Whatever it is, you're going to always fall to the level of your standards. You can't always be expected to perform at your absolute best. It's very difficult to perform at your best, but your standards will determine the bottom. What is the minimum accepted? Because very often, if you have a bad day, things happen, it gets stressful, but your minimum standard is a lot of the times where you're going to fall to on a tough day. So you want to make sure that these are really, really high standards so that even on your worst day, you're still a lot better than the competition. You also want to have some personal standards. Personal standards basically encompass your entire life. You should require each employee to come up with 10 standards that will hold themselves to in their life, and you should have these as well. So these might circle around health, fitness, career, family, thoughts, habits, skills, learning, and actions. They can choose their standards, but you should require to make them have a written list of actual habits that they're going to recite as part of their daily routine that will essentially be a part of their standards. So they have their standards and then they have their habits, which are basically built-in ways to actually execute their standards on a daily basis. So what you can do is you can hold them accountable to this, and if they don't essentially stack up to it, they can basically get kicked out. Of course, it's nearly impossible to track or verify this, but the thing is, if you can implement this and you can have people of this level in your company, it is going to be completely revolutionary. Like I initially, when I started implementing this, I thought this is kind of stupid. Like, I don't know if it's going to work, because I actually got, someone told me to do it. I was like, it actually works like crazy, because the thing is, people absolutely love being held accountable, because it's not as if they have these standards and values. It's not as if they're just made up. If you ask someone, what do you care about? What do you want to be? What level do you want to get to? If you say, okay, you want to get to that level, great, I'm going to hold you accountable to that. They actually appreciate it like crazy, because it's very rare that people have someone like that in their life that will hold them to that standard and help them get to the level they want to get to. Because ever since school, or uni, or wherever you last had a sort of an authoritative figure, it's very, very rare, especially if you're a business owner, it's very rare that someone is actually going to call you out on your bullshit and say, hey, why is this not done? You said you were going to record one short form video every day. Where's that? Hey, you said you were going to do this. Where is it? Where's the thing? A lot of the time it's not there. And you kind of need that pressure to make you perform and make you be accountable. And everyone needs it, and no one's immune to it. It's just one of those things. And yeah, you probably won't even need to hold them accountable, because you'll be able to tell if they're doing it just by kind of changing their behavior and the way they work and the way they communicate. But it's obviously great to have you there as a little bit of a fail-safe. Then what you want to have is a beginning of day form. This is going to raise your standards and consistently reinforce them for yourself and employees, because repetition is really important. You need to consistently remind yourself and your employees of the standards that everyone is supposed to live up to, and then you need to reinforce these standards. Simple as that. In addition to that, you need to train your employees in all aspects of the business so they're really, really competent and well-rounded. They've been hired for a specific job, yes, but they also need to operate the system and know how to do so to some degree, because it's not a system that you're going to be able to run yourself. All of your employees have to chip in too. And you want to hold them to really high standards and always be improving, and help them know how to do the following. So like ad creatives, cold email campaigns, newsletters, filming content, et cetera, et cetera. And this is going to come with time, but it's really important, and you need to institutionalize it so it's a permanent facet of your business. It's not something you do for a day or a week. It's really, really important that these things are done, and they're done well, and they're done efficiently. So here's an example of a form that we have. So what standards am I holding myself to as a professional? What are 5 ways I'm going to increase the quality of my work? What are 3 or more things that I've learned recently? What's a cold email script? I'm going to make one. Here's an ad template. I'm going to make one. Depending on which thing. So the QB ad creative, or it might be, email marketing ad creative, whatever your offer is. And then you want to say, how am I going to make my video a little bit better? Here are my videos that I recorded today. How am I going to make my newsletter better? And then link the newsletter. Then part 2, you're going to have your habits and your routine. So your morning routine should consist of all your chores, a couple of the most important tasks, whatever it is that gets you up in the morning. And the purpose of that is to provide a bit of structure to your day and consist of a lot of the chores and stuff that you should have to do every day, like brushing your teeth, etc. And then completing these tasks in rapid succession actually builds up this nice momentum to start the day. Like some people say, don't have a morning routine, just get straight to work. But some people, it also works really well to have a routine. I personally find it really good. You get up, you have your coffee, you go for a walk, you make your bed, take your vitamins, whatever it is, have your water, have your protein shake, brush your teeth, write down the goals, read the standards aloud, pray, do whatever you need to do, plan out your work, film your video, write your newsletter. And by that time, this might take you 30 minutes. Might take you only 30, 40 minutes, and you've done these things, and it gives you that momentum where it's like, holy shit, I've done so much stuff already. 60 minutes, and it gives you that extra boost to the start of the day. So in addition to that, you're also going to have 2 of your most important tasks done, your short form video and your daily newsletter, and then you can just sort of go from there. Having a morning routine like this is a really crucial element to this productivity system in particular. Even if most of it doesn't have to do with actual professional work, it's just really important to get the ball rolling really, really quickly and sort of get on the move. Then you want to have a work routine, which is something like this. So you want to have an ad creative, a cold email script, a short form video, a newsletter. That's done in hour 1. Then you want to fill out the work form. Then in hour 2, you might do something similar. You'll fill out the work form at the end. Hour 3, something similar. Fill out the work form. Hour 4, XYZ. Fill out the form. Hour 5, XYZ. Because we want to have, might have a question here where you say, when are you going to actually have time to do client work? So you can do this during hour 1 to 5, but preferably you either do it beforehand or afterwards, or delegate it to your clients for some of the things, or delegate it to employees as well. So you can work on growing the business and doing high leverage tasks during your prime time. Then obviously you want to have your night routine as well. So it's basically going to be the inverse of your morning routine. It's not about building momentum. It's about winding down and setting yourself up for success the following day. So some examples include brushing your teeth, water bottle, dishes in dishwasher, laundry, taking food out of the freezer, charging your phone, reviewing your Kaizen for the day, and if you lived up to it, writing down your goals, reading your standards aloud, and reviewing them if you lived up to them. And yeah, that's basically it. Your night routine shouldn't be too long, shouldn't consist of too many tasks. It should just be pretty quick and sharp, and just basically set you up for success the following day. And then having this in place to start and finish your day is really good mental health, really key for just making sure you have that structure. Because like I said, post school, if you're a business owner, if you're working in like a remote business, you don't always have that continuity and that routine. So it's really important to have this. And what you want to do with it is you want to print it out daily. So the best way to handle this is to print out all 3 sheets, staple them together, and then cross them off as you complete them. This has the advantage of making them portable and non-reliant on technology. And it also gives you a nice dopamine hit when you tick that box. Oh my God, it's the best thing when you finish the day. You've ticked all your boxes and you get that mini reward when you cross it off. And the beauty of that is the morning routine consists of mostly chores and quick important tasks. So you have them done. So it's not like you're sitting in a room and you're never brushing your teeth or anything like that. You actually get the stuff done. And it also gives you that quick succession. So it gives you that positive momentum boost for the rest of the day. Part 3 is productivity. So this is where we're going to talk about the 5 times 60 minute cycles that I mentioned slightly before. So the ideal work environment is this. First off, you want to set a timer for 60 minutes. You want to plan out what you're going to do in that 60 minutes. You're going to turn the timer on and work non-stop until it goes off. So you're literally going to train yourself to sit there and just do the 60 minutes of work. Then at the end of the 60 minutes, you're going to fill out an accountability form saying exactly what you did in those 60 minutes and be specific. Then you're going to take a 15-minute break, and then you're going to repeat that process until you've worked 5 hours per day. Because the thing is, 5 hours is enough. 5 hours is actually, probably about 50 hours of work for the average person if you can do 5 hours of really, really focused work. And by adopting this method, you can work less hours, but you can outperform the average person 10 to 1. With less work, you're still outperforming them. The thing is that you have to understand that working this way is like developing any habit. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and it eventually becomes automatic, and it's just kind of how you work. And it's actually more enjoyable than working any other way because it feels so much better. There's nothing worse than getting to the end of the day. You felt like you've been at your desk all day, but you haven't actually gotten anything done. That's got to be the worst feeling that there is in life and business. The next thing is about Kaizen improvement. So Kaizen is an approach to creating continuous improvement based on the idea that small, ongoing, positive change can reap you really huge benefits. So it's a Japanese business philosophy that focuses on continuous improvement and involves all employees as well as you, most importantly. And what it means is basically change for the better. So you have your work, you have your visible problems, you have your countermeasure that you develop, you have your root cause that you determine, you make hypothesize a solution, you test it, and then you implement it, and then hopefully it makes your standardized work even better. And then day by day, you just get a little bit better. And the focus is stacking small 1% improvements, which add up to create great compound results over time. So this is from Atomic Habits, 1.01% better over a year every day is 37x. Or 1% worse is 0.03x. So it's way worse. In this context, we want to make every single hour you work more productive in terms of focus, output, and quality than the previous hour. And then we want to be very intentional about this and make it a deeply ingrained and institutionalized part of our work, life, and business. Then we have the work form. So for each of these 5 hours, you and all of your employees will be expected to fill out a form. And you're going to do this after your time goes off and before you take your 15-minute break. And although it might seem restrictive to the uninitiated person, it's actually quite the opposite. It gives you a really sweet dopamine boost. And you'll get this yourself if you actually do it. But the standard is that you and all your employees fill this out 5 times a day to reflect the work that you have done. And it's a really great way to make sure your employees, and more specifically you, are actually working, because it's really likely that if you're not at the level you want to be, you could probably be getting more out of yourself. So it's really important that you hold yourself accountable to this as well. It's not just the employees. And yeah, here's an example of the form. So what's an example of your main goal? So for example, we have a main goal. You might have 1,000 clients at $5,000 each. You might have, you put in the date. What did you do during the 60 minutes? What would you rate your focus and effort out of 10? What can you do so your effort and focus is better in the next hour? So maybe you feel tired, have a coffee, something like that. And then with every hour you complete, you are rewiring your brain and becoming a person capable of focusing and getting 10x as much done as you used to. Do you promise to keep going? Yes, hopefully you do. And then you want to just train yourself to sit there. The thing to remember is that the more you do this, the easier it gets. This way of working will pretty much turn you into a highly capable and efficient robot, which is desirable in this context. Not every context, but in this context, it is desirable. So after a while, it's just going to be automatic, just like tying your shoes or turning off the light after you leave a room. Each hour you work, you will train yourself to sit there. Do not move, do not stop working. Make a promise to yourself and hold yourself to the standard of sitting there until the timer goes off as a minimum. And then it just gets easier and easier as time goes on until you can sit there for 60 minutes without struggle and then without losing focus once. Imagine that. Imagine you could sit there and just bang, 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 just smash out your work without ever losing focus. If that sounds interesting and that sounds like it'd be worth it, give it a try. See how long you can stick to it for and stick to a habit of getting better and better. It's like going into the gym and then week on week, you're just getting bigger and bigger and you're doing that bench press and it's just like, oh my God, I'm getting so jacked. This is awesome. And after doing it for 30 days, you're going to be feeling that. So you're going to be thinking, oh my God, I'm so much better. I'm so much more focused. I'm getting so much more output. I'm 10x better than I used to be. And then when that happens, you're going to be thinking, damn, thank God I watched that video. And no matter what, no matter how big your company gets, you always want to have this as your productivity method. Really, really important. And then it's about tracking and accountability. What gets scheduled gets done. There is an old saying in business, and it's very, very true. If you don't have time in your calendar to do all the pieces of your routine and tasks, the likelihood you are going to do them goes down dramatically. But it's important to realize that this is the actual work. These routines and habits, these Ks, is the actual work that's going to move your business forward and move you forward as a person. It's not an add-on. It's not something you do that if you have time. It's the priority and it's the absolute minimum. So you want to have time for all of this in your schedule actually booked off very, very clearly. The other thing is that what gets measured gets improved. Also very true. How could you improve something if you don't measure it? Tangible KPIs and numbers provide a clear picture of what you are trying to achieve and how successful you've been in trying to achieve it. For example, with the 5x60 work method, how are you going to know if you've been doing this if you don't submit a form? How will you know if your employees are doing it if they don't submit a form? How will you know if your standards are being adhered to if you don't have a daily accountability check-in? How are you going to know if your employees are improving at certain skills if you don't have proof of it or you don't have examples of it? It's not really an abstract thing. It's not a theory. This is just a system that is implemented and operated, and measurement is very, very important for it to actually work, as is with anything. Then you also want to have an end of day form. And basically what this is going to be is for each of your employees, and it's not like a tiny piece of shit end of day form. They give themselves an arbitrary grade. You want to have something like this. What about my video today was better than yesterday? Was it at least 10% better? What about my ads were better than yesterday? Were they at least 10% better? What about my cold email script was better than yesterday? Was it at least 10% better? What about my newsletter today was better than yesterday? Was it at least 10% better? Did I get 300 minutes of focused work done today? Why do I think that? What tasks will I do tomorrow? Ask Matt if not clear. What is something Matt could do to help you succeed better and be better? What is one thing you think a 1000x lead could do better as a company from what you have seen? Then you want to review these forms as part of either your morning or evening routine and just look at what they said. So if any employees miss one single submission or if they miss anything, you have to say something the following day. It's really like it's minimum. If you let this slip, it's never going to work. You have to be really, really sharp on this. And the truth is that they should and will be much happier working like this than they were before, because like I said, there's nothing worse than when you've been sitting at your computer all day and you've got nothing done. Just as a human, it's the worst feeling ever. Productivity is literally happiness for most humans. That's what I've found anyway. Then what you're going to see is that each form should have a section for why it's important as well, because obviously as much as they will enjoy it, you definitely have to sell them on the idea, just the same way as I have to sell you on the idea about why it's important, because you have to try it first. You have to understand the impact that it can have. And then once you ingrain this way of working into who they are as a person, they're going to be disciplined enough to start their own business or get 3x the money working somewhere else. And that's kind of the end goal, isn't it? But this is the biggest thing right here. Accountability for you. Because unlike your employees, you don't have anyone above you to tell you what to do or hold you accountable. You should choose someone, likely your most senior or favorite or important employee, to act in this role for you. Because there's nothing worse than someone who talks the talk but doesn't walk the walk. If you're going to implement these standards, productivity system, and accountability for your employees and company, you better be doing this stuff as well. And your accountability partner or person will ensure that you are filling out this form 5x per day to reflect your 5 hours of work. And they're going to ensure that you are improving with each hour you work and all of your skills to do with ads, cold email, content, newsletters, and make sure that you are progressing. So it's really important that you have that in place. Then what you want to do is you want to have 3 meetings per week with each employee to ensure they're progressing and adhering to the productivity system and the company standards. These are going to be 10 minutes or less. And during these meetings, you're just going to talk about their forms, see if they're progressing based on their submissions, if they're not doing good enough, et cetera, and also to get feedback as well. So these meetings are going to provide you a really proactive chance to motivate or confront them or whatever it may be, and make sure that the standards of excellence are being upheld. And basically, if you implement this, you're probably going to get 5 to 10x at least out of every single one of your employees and yourself. So if you think that would be valuable to you, absolutely give it a try. Just do 30 days. It is literally one of the best things that you can ever do. Trust me, just try it. I'll leave a link to this document down in the description. You can check out the forms, recreate them in your company, and let me know how it goes. Drop a comment. If you think it absolutely sucks, drop a comment as well. Or if you think it was valuable, make sure to share it with one of your friends, someone in business, someone that you think would get some benefit from it. So hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you didn't think it absolutely sucked. And I will see you in the next video.